There are a lot more. You can go through them. Yeah, you can go through them. You can look up other sorting algorithms. We're gonna do two, which is one is selection sort and the other one is going to be a bubble sort. So selection sort is like one of these both are like one of the easiest ones to implement, easiest one to code. And what happens in sort in selection sort is the what do? We keep on looking for the minimum element and we put it in the starting of the array. And if we are like putting everything in a ascending order from unsorted part, let's say, see, look over here. We had this array which had these numbers in it. It had 64, 25, 12, 22, 11. This is not sorted. This is not in ascending order. So, can you tell me what ascending order is real quick? I just want to see if you guys know. What is
High,
ascending order? Huh?
high to low.
Yeah, high to low. All right. And descending is? Ascending is low, smallest number to biggest number. Descending is largest number to lowest number. I hope I'm right. Let me know if I
Yes,
said
ma'am.
that wrong.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, ascending is from the smallest number to the greatest number, and descending is from the biggest number to smallest. Easiest way to remember is ascending stairs and descending. Descending means coming down of stairs. Ascending means going up to stairs. So that's how I remember it. So yeah, coming back, there's this array and it is not sorted neither in ascending or descending order. We're gonna try putting it ascending order. So for ascending order, we want the smallest number in the starting and the largest number at the end, and rest should be arranged. So in selection sort, what we do is we start going through the whole array, and as soon as we find the smallest number, what do? We put it at the beginning of the array and we switch the position. See, if you can see it, when the first time the loop will run, it will find 11 is the smallest. It will put 11 in the front, and but what was at this position? 64 was over here, right? So it will put 64 at 11th position. Whatever number is at the first position, it will replace it with the smallest number. Then what we'll do, now we know that this is the smallest number. There will not be any number smaller than this. So we will start working from here. We will start looking from here. And as soon as we find the smallest number, which is 12, we will put 12 over here and we will put 25 in place of 12. See it over here? Then we know that these two are done. We're gonna look through this part and we're gonna find the smallest number, 24. We will put 24 over here and put 25 over here. And then last time when we check, this is all right. So it is done and our array has been sorted. Did you guys understand what is happening?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I will also let me just show you this animation. This is like easier to understand. What happens is uh, let's start from here. So this is the array, and then we're gonna put the sorted array in the front, and the rest remaining is the unsorted. So they took this and they see it's changing because 12 is smaller than 25, and then 22 is not smaller than 12, so it stays that way, and then it is swapped. Just look at it once. I think this will good way of understanding it. Did you guys understand this? I hope there's no confusion. This is like how it works. This is the logic. And now we're gonna write a program to work this like logic up. So how you go about it is, let's see the program we have over here. Okay. So we would need a for loop first for sure to go for going through the complete array. So it goes from 0 to n minus 1. N is the length of the array and minus 1 because element starts from 0. And then they did I plus plus. Then you come inside it and you find the minimum element in the unsorted array. So for the first time we just said that let the minimum we said the minimum ID of the element. We are saying the minimum element's ID is I. What is I right now? I is 0. Why are we doing this? Because once we found the minimum element and we put it in the starting, like over here, let's say the first time the loop runs, the I value is 0. So we said start from 0, right? And go still over there. After that, we know that the number over here is the smallest number. So we need to start from the second position, right? So when it becomes 1, we need to start looking from 1. Are you guys following what I'm trying to say? And when this is done, we're supposed to start from over here. We don't need to go through this because this is already sorted. Any confusion? Okay. So we did that, and then we had another for loop. We run another for loop. Why are we doing another for loop? Because in the first for loop, we first took an element. And then for the other for loop, we're going to compare it because we need two elements, right? To come for comparing, we need to have two elements. We need to have this and this. Only then we can compare them. And then we have to compare this from this. And then we need to compare this from this. So to get the first value, we run the outer for loop. And for going through the rest of the array, for going through the rest of the array and comparing it, we use the other for loop. Right, because we first need to get the element and then we need to start comparing it first from 25, then 12, then 22, then 64. Then we need to get the second element and compare it from 12 to 22 to 64. Alright, so we run a loop. Now this one is going to start from I plus 1 because the first element is the one we are comparing. Right, let's say the first element of the array was 11, so we do not need to compare 11 by 11, right? We need to compare 11 by the next element. So it starts from I plus 1, it is less than n, and it is j less than n is notice this is less than n minus 1 and this is less than n. So this will actually work. Let's say if the array has 10 elements, this loop will go from 0 to 8 and this will go from 0 to 9. Why? Because we're comparing everything. If we reach the last element of the array, the ninth element, there's nothing as 10th element. We have nothing to compare it to. So the outer loop goes from less than n minus 1, not less than equals to. Less than n minus 1 and this goes till less than n. From I plus 1 to less than n. Try to understand the logic so you can write it easily. If you for some reason you feel the need, you can even learn these. All right, you can even just learn for selection, so it goes from 0 to n minus 1, I plus 1 to n, because it's just the logic. But if you will understand it, that will be like way better, so you can write it, think it and write it, don't need to mug it up. So then we come inside this loop, this for loop, and we compare. We compare array of j. If it is less than the first element, then we swap. Then we just swap them. If it is smaller, then we swap the elements. We took a temporary variable and we put the first element, which was let's say 11, into that, and we you know then over in this place we put the element that we just found, and in the place of element we just found, we put the temporary variable back. I think you understand this swapping. We took a third thing, like let's say we have we have two buckets of water and we need to, we have a bucket of water and a bucket of, let's say, tea, and we need to swap it. How do you do it? First, we take a third bucket, we put the water in that bucket, put the tea in the emptied bucket, and then put, the third bucket that is holding water, put all of that water in the bucket that had tea. It's like kind of the same thing. You're swapping them. Temporary is that empty bucket that we used. Right? I hope you understand the example of like two buckets. One bucket has water, one bucket has tea, and you need to exchange them. Okay, exchange the content. So you cannot do it while both of them are full. So you take another empty bucket, put the content of, let's say, the water into that, and then that bucket became empty that had water. So you put all of the tea in that in that bucket. Now the tea bucket is empty, so you can put the water into it, which is in the third bucket, which we took the extra bucket, right? So this is how selection sort works, and this is how we write the code for selection sort. If somebody is confused anywhere, you can ask me. Think about it for a minute, see what's happening. If you get confused, ask me right now. Then we will move on to bubble sort, and after that, we will write some code. Okay, no questions. Then I'll just move on to bubble sort. So this is bubble sort, and this works a bit differently. All right. Will you please explain from unsorted array? From unsorted array, what do you see? That's why I say like unmute yourself for 10. You don't understand what do you mean by from unsorted array. Where does it say unsorted array? From here, it says unsorted array at multiple places. From the minimum. From here, that means like the complete thing again. All right. You just asked me to do that. We have an You understood how the selection sort works, right? I hope first let me know that you understood the concept of what we are doing. We take the first element and we take it and we, let's say, we put it somewhere, and then we go through the complete array and we keep on comparing. We compare that first element with the second one. Is it smaller? If it is, then you change, and after that you compare it with the other one, and the other one, like first you do not swap the places. You just go through the whole array and find the minimum value, right? You find the smallest value, and once you find the smallest value, you exchange that with the first element of the array. Whatever's in the starting of the array, the first element of the array, you put this smallest number over there and put whatever was at the starting of the array in place of that smallest element, right? So first you took this integer and you place the first index wherever we're starting from. We place the value of I in it. This is the index of the first element. When the first time the loop runs, the first element we're going to start from 0. The next time it runs, we're going to start from 1. Why are we going to start from 1? Because we've already put the minimum number of the complete array at the 0 position. So we do not need to, take start from 0 again. We need to start from the element after that, which is going to be 1. After that, we're going to have 2, the position. Once like the starting numbers are sorted, you do not need to go over them. That's why we took an integer and we put minimum id, like when minimum index number of that element, let's say, is I. And then we run a loop for I plus 1 till less than n. I plus 1, why? Because if we're comparing the value at I, so comparing the value at I with I itself doesn't make sense, right? Why would you compare, if you're comparing a number, why will you compare the number by itself? It's useless. So you start from I plus 1 till less than n, which is till the last element, and j plus plus. And what you do, you have your if I the element at j, if the element at j is less than, is smaller than the array element at this position. What is this position? The value of I. For the first time, this is the first element 0. Next time, it is the second element at 1. If it is smaller than that, then we change the minimum index. We change the minimum index number. We change this from what it was before to this index number. Why? Because now this became the smallest number. And then you do it for the whole array. So you will get the index number of the smallest element, right? You got the index number of the smallest element. Then after that, this loop ended. So both of these loop ended over here. I'm sorry, no, yeah. After this loop ended. Inside this for loop, you will swap the elements. You will swap the elements. You will take a temporary element, put that, and then you just swap them. And then when after this complete thing is finished, your array will be sorted. If a specific part you cannot understand, like I think, really, like you really understood. Usually, like when you guys ask me questions, better if you tell me like I don't understand this, so that then I can explain why we are doing a certain thing. All right, understood. Great. Next time when I ask you people to ask me question, like if you don't understand it and nobody does, like only one person asks me, I'm going to ask the other people to explain, because if you're not asking a question, I assume that you completely understood what I was saying. All right, so this is what I'm going to go for, because I have no idea if you guys are listening or not. So this is bubble sort, and it like it does the same thing. It sorts your array, but it works a bit differently. So over here we have passes, and passes is nothing like pass is the first time the loop works, second time the loop works. So what happens is, like, this is the array you have initially. Okay, you have 51428, and it will check the adjacent, it checks the adjacent elements, it means the one next to, next to each other. So it checks 5 and 1. 1 is smaller than 5, right? So it will just swap them in that place. In the selection sort, first it goes through the whole array, finds the smallest one. After that, it swaps it with the first element, right? First it goes through the whole array, finds the smallest one, then it exchanges for the first element. It doesn't wait. If it goes like this, if like the second one is smaller than the first one, it will just swap them. After that, it will check the next two elements. If it's smaller, swap the next two. Smaller swap, done. After that, it will come back to the starting, and it will check if this is smaller and this is, the first element is already smaller, there's no need to change, so it doesn't do anything. The next two are smaller, changes to. Next time 4 and 5, 4 is already smaller, no need. Then it checks 5 and 8, that is also done, so it's done. Then comes to starting 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is okay. 2 and 4, 2 and 4 is okay. 4 and 5, 4 and 5 is okay. 5 and 8, 5 and 8 is okay. That means the whole array is sorted and just stops. So it exchanges the value at the same place. So this works comparatively faster than your selection sort. Uh, let's see. This is like an animation for that. This is the array you have. See, why did it change the limit value over here? Why is it changing the limit value? Because once it has swapped the whole complete thing, it has already pushed the largest number to the end. If you see over here, if we start from here, first it compared 4 and 1 and swapped them. So 4 was greater, so 4 came at the second position. Then it compares this. 4 is greater, 4 is pushed at the back. But 4 is also greater than 1 now, because first you compared 1 and 4. So 1 was smaller than 4, so 1 took that place, 4 came over here. Then 2 comes over here, 4 comes over here. 4 and 5 is fine, so it stops. 5 and 8, it's fine, stops. And then for 8 and 9, it's fine, stop. That means this number is greater than all of these numbers, right? Because we are constantly pushing the largest number to the back. Are you understanding? So now we know this number is the largest number of the whole array. We do not need to check for this. We can just check till here. Did you understand this part? Alright, so now let's look at the code. So this is where it's doing, right? So we have a for loop which goes from 0 till n minus 1. Till this array is not sorted. We run this loop till your array is, like, if that what you mean, like it will go on till the array is kind of not sorted. Another, like, it will keep on comparing. I don't understand what you mean by how many times. Let me explain this. I hope that will answer your question, or otherwise, like, ask me. Like, you can mute yourself and ask me because I don't comprehend. So your I goes from 0 till n minus 1, which is the length minus 1, like the complete array. And then you have another for loop, because you need to take adjacent elements, right? You need to have the first element and the second element. Then you take this. It goes from j equals to 0 and runs till n minus I minus 1. It is less than n minus I minus 1. Why? Because once the whole loop has gone, and the element, which is at the end of the array, is already the largest element now. So you do not need to compare for that one. So you do n minus I minus 1. So the first time n I is 0, so n minus 0 minus 1 is going to be n minus 1. Next time is going to be n minus 2. Then it's going to be n minus 3, right? And then goes to j plus plus, and you compare j with j plus 1. J from j plus 1 means j is 0 for the first time. 0 compares to 0 plus 1, which is the first position. Then you compare the first position to the second position to the third position. That's how you go along. And if it is greater, then you swap them. Swapping is the same as that one. You have a temporary variable, you put a of j over there, and a of j is equals to a of j plus 1, and a of j plus 1 is equal to temporary. And once all of this is done, your array will be sorted. Anybody wants to ask something? I would also like to, okay, so if you have understood this before actually writing some code, because the code is literally just available and you guys can actually, now you've done enough coding that you can, for loop, variables, uh, ma'am, how n minus I minus 1? Because you saw in this animation, as we saw, it started another one. What? Yeah, you saw in this animation that they have this limit value of j. The first time it is the last, the end of the array. So the first time we do n minus, over here what is the value of n is 1 2 3 4 5 6, n is 6 in this case, and I is going to be the first time 0. So n minus 0 minus 1 is going to be 5, and this is the index 5, right? This is 5, so it will run till here. Now, once we've gone through the array once, it will keep on pushing the larger number to the back, as 1 and 5, 5 was greater, so 5 stays over here, 5 and 4, 5 goes over here, 4 comes over here, right? It keeps on pushing the larger number to the end. So this is, by the end, the whole, it has gone through the whole array. This is going to be the largest number. You do not need to change it now, right? Why do you not need to change it? Because you're putting it in ascending order. The last number should be the largest number, so it is the largest number now. So you don't need to compare this anymore. There's no need. It's like redundantly comparing. It's always going to be bigger. So instead of going through the whole thing till 5, you want to go till here. But how do you change that number? When you're writing a program, you need to, use minimum separate, you keep on using separate variables for everything. Doesn't, like, it just takes extra memory. Think of a logic how you can do it. To get, instead of 5, now you want to run till 4. So you were doing n minus 0 minus 1. If now you will do n minus 1, it's gonna give you the position number for 8, the element 8 in the array. And how can you get it? I is obviously gonna go from 0 to 1, so you just do n minus I minus 1. So that's how you figure it out. It's just a way. If you did not want it, you could have a separate counter, separate, another variable, store the value of length minus 1 in it, and every time the loop runs, you decrease the value by 1. But that's useless. If you can do the calculation this way, then it is better to do it this way, because the value of I will keep on going from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3, and that's exactly what you need over here. You want n minus 1 minus 1, n minus, you know, 2 minus 1 is going to be, n minus 3. So I hope you're understanding what I'm trying to say. Okay. And see, again, I'm saying all of these things. I know, even when I started, all of these things were like so confusing. And why are you doing it? And the most question which that used to come to my mind, the question that used to come the most in mind was like, how do you know it? You have to do it that way. Like, how will I ever know I have to do it that way? Like once you see the code, you understand. Okay, this is smart. You're just, if you apply this logic, you see these codes on the internet, or you see other people's code, and you look at it and you're like, okay, that was like such a smart idea to do it that way. How will I ever know how to do it? I would already like always be doing it in, like, the easiest way possible. How would I find the smartest way to do it? But to find the smartest way to do it, you need to code a lot. You need to code. To be honest, if you really want to go in the field, you need to code every day. Write programs every day. Doesn't matter your college is going on, whatever is going on, let it go on. Even if for like half an hour, 1 hour, just code. And that way you will looking at more code, you will solving more code, you'll be thinking more, so you will understand how the program works, and you will be evolving. If you have coded before, you would know, like, now if you look back at the code you wrote in school or you wrote before, you feel like, okay, that was such a stupid way of doing it. How do you know a better way now? Because you've been practicing all this time. So it's good to practice to code. The more you will practice, the more you will learn. Now, if you remember, yesterday we did searching, right? We did searching. Now, this is another way of searching an array. Let's say you have a very big array. So, taking an element and going through the whole array, finding, the one which matches it will take a lot of time. Let's say you have thousands of elements. It will take you have to go through thousands of elements to find that one element which matches. So that's too much time. So that's why we have this thing which is called a binary search, and this works only it only works on arrays which are sorted. That's why I taught you sorting first. It only works on arrays which are already sorted. So if you have array which has not been sorted, first you need to sort it, and then you can only perform binary search on it. Now how does binary search works? Instead of going through the whole array, it first find the midpoint of the array. What will it do? It will find the middle point of the array and compare. Because it is already sorted, the array is already sorted. Okay, it is going from the smallest value to the largest value. We will take the middle element and we will compare that middle element with the element that we are searching. Let's say, let's take an array. Okay, let's take this, and let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This has six, but okay, let's do it. Whatever. Let's say this. Take this as a middle point, and let's say we are searching for 8. This is not sorted also. So let's reach the part where it has been already sorted. Where it is sorted now, right? So 1, 2, 4, 5, 8, 9. Yes, this is your middle point right now, and let's say we have to find 8. So what we're going to do? We're going to take the midpoint, and the value we are searching for is 8, right? We will compare 4 with 8. So is first thing we'll check is this element equal to this one we are searching for? No, it is not. 4 is not equal to 8. Then we'll check, is 4 greater than 8? No, it is not greater than, it is smaller than 8. Right? 4 is smaller than 8. That means the number we are searching for cannot lie in this part. Why? Because if 4 is smaller than 8, everything else is also going to be smaller than 8. The number we search, it is never going to be equal to that, because 4 is smaller than 8. So we can just throw all of this out, this part out, and then we search in this part. Are you understanding? And if, let's say, we were searching for 2 and we'll compare it, so 4 was greater than 2, so we know it's not going to be over here, it is going to be in this part of the array, the number we are searching for. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. I'll take that as a yes. So once we've compared the middle element and we've thrown half of the array out, and we've thrown half of the array out, we're left with only the other half of the array. We'll do the same thing again. We'll find the middle element and we'll compare it with the element we are searching for. If it is equal to the element, done, you found your element, you just come out of the loop. If it is greater than, if it is greater than, you throw the back end of the array, it's going to be only in this part. If it is smaller than, so you throw out the, the starting part of the array and you just keep the remaining part. And that way you've reduced your time, in your normal searching, for normal searching, reduce the complete time to half, because every time you search, you are throwing away half of the array. Like, you figure it out that it's not going to be in this half of the array, it's going to be in the next half. So you reduced your time to literally, like, by half every time, exponentially. Let me search if I can find an animation for it. Okay, this is, see, it is already sorted, right? And you have to find 57. Minimum number is in the starting, maximum is at the end, right? Calculate the midpoint. How will you calculate the middle point? You will, the first index and the last index, add them divided by 2. You got the index of the middle point, right? I hope you understand that, finding the middle point. You're comparing it. So you shifted your minimum point to, the element after that. Why? Because as 11 was smaller than 57, that means all the numbers over here are also smaller than 57. So they cannot ever be equal to 57. So now you don't want all of this part. You brought your minimum to 13 because now you only want to compare in this part. Because this is the only region where you can find 57. These all are smaller than 57. You cannot find 57 over there. Then you find the middle point again. It is again smaller, so you will change the minimum again. All right, I hope that made it way more clear. So, how do you go about writing it? Is you need three things. You need an array, you need the length of the array, and then R. They've taken R and okay, they've done it that way. Let's see it where. This is not a good way of explaining it. Let me search another code. Yes, this is the one. Okay, so look over here. You have your array, and I'm sorry. You asked the user to enter the value they want to search, and you stored it in item. All right. This is in C. Here's your Java program. Okay. You had your array. You asked the user to enter the item. You stored it in the item. Then you had location is equals to binary search array 09 and item. What is 09? Binary search, they just made another separate function called binary search, and they're sending these values. They're sending the array. They're sending the beginning, they're sending the end, and they're sending the item to be searched. What is the beginning? Beginning is the starting point of the array. End is the length minus 1 position. Beginning is always going to be 0 first, and the end is going to be array's length minus 1, the last element. And you had int item, which is the number to be searched. First, they declared a mid to store the middle point, and they checked if end is greater than equals to beginning. If the position of end is greater than equals to beginning, then what we're gonna do? Then we're gonna work. If the end is smaller than beginning, then it makes no sense. That means you've already found the element. Alright? If the end is greater than end is obviously always supposed to be greater than beginning, right? If it is greater than equal to beginning, come this is an if, so this all is inside that if. You said mid equals to beginning plus end divided by 2. Then you checked if the element at the middle point is equal to the item, then you just returned mid plus 1. Mid plus 1 is the position of that item, right? As you can to find that item, that means that this is the item you wanted, right? A of mid is the item you wanted, and its position is mid plus 1 according to the normal number. According to 1 2 3 4, it's going to be at mid plus 1. If we start from 0, it is just going to be mid. So mid plus 1 is just that they've changed it, okay? And then they checked else if A of mid is less than item. If A of mid is less than the item we are searching for, so we run binary search again. We run binary search again, and what we're going to give the array. Now mid plus 1 is your beginning, and you give the end and you give the item. You change the beginning. You change the beginning to mid plus 1. And if it is, greater than the item, then you change the beginning. The beginning stays the same. The end part changed to mid minus 1, and you give the item. And then at the end, you just return minus 1, which is like, all right. This means like the item was never found. Are you understanding? Did you guys understand what's happening? You can just ignore. If you just don't create a separate function, then you don't need these returns over here. You can just have binary search this, and write binary search this. Is anybody confused? Understood? Okay, so one person did. I hope you all did. Okay, great. So it's already like not much time. So let me tell you what task I want you all to do. Okay, this binary search code that I am showing you is from Java T Point website. The site is called Java T Point, and the rest was all from Geeks for Geeks. So like you can find all that code over there. What I want you to do is I want you to write a program. Tomorrow Sunday, you're not gonna have class tomorrow, so you have a whole day to figure it out. And I want everyone to do it. If you don't do it, just don't turn up. You have complete Sunday, and then writing this code will hardly take you half an hour. I know you all can take out half an hour from your busy schedule, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to write a code which, like, there's going to be an array. First take an array and let that array be jumbled, okay? Do not write an array with elements 1 2 3 4 5 6. Have like jumbled elements in it, okay? Take 10 elements in an array, and after that you're going to first sort your array. You can use whatever sorting you want, selection sort or bubble sort. All right, first you sort your array. After array is sorted, you do binary search on it. Ask the user to enter an element, and you search that element in the array. If you found the element, display, like, print the position where you find it. Like if you found the array at position 8, print 8. If you found position 5, print 5. And once you printed that, just like the program should end. If you do not find the element at all, just print element not found. Did you guys understand? Understood the task?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
great. Okay, so if you're clear with the task, and so we'll just end the session over here. And on Monday, I want all of you to be ready with your task. Okay, try figuring it out. If you get stuck, try searching about it, read the code, go through the code, find online, do some research first. Okay, and if you really like, if you're still getting stuck, got errors that you really cannot understand, then ask me. I'll solve it for you. And why I'm asking you to first search it, because when you're searching, when you find an error and you search for that error, you will yourself, when you read stuff yourself, you'll be gaining more from that, because you'll be reading different articles, you'll be reading different codes to find what is wrong with your code, you'll be comparing different codes. So that way it will be helping you more. If you ask me your problem, I'm just going to give you a solution and you apply the solution and move on. That we do. When you search for an error and you find the answer to your error, you're going to remember it for a long time. You will know, okay, once I got that error and found that way. So try doing that, get a habit of doing it. That way you will be able to remember stuff more. And if you really get stuck like this, like no way, you're not even understanding anything, then you can always ask me, I will solve the problem, or when in the next class you can ask me. All right, so if you're clear with everything, you can start leaving the class.